Well, I found a brand new document today that I think is a little bit of a bombshell. And it's interesting to me that it's on the back end. Like literally yesterday, I did a video on tokenized collateral and this kind of collateral reset idea, in the context of things like gold and silver. Uh, Not saying that they're they're resetting the price of gold and silver. Just saying it'll be interesting to watch as these kind of traditionally high value assets come on chain and how they're looked at um, from like a high value collateral standpoint. Now today we have the European Central Bank announcing that DLT issued securities as of March 30th, 2026. So like literally 2 months from now, are going to be eligible as collateral. Banks will be able to use DLT, aka blockchain, aka crypto network issued assets to unlock central bank liquidity. They even have in here quotes. They're exploring. This is coming. I'll just share my screen here. If you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. I always like getting some of this out prior to the news orgs here. But quote, they even have here, they're exploring ways, the European Central Bank is exploring ways to expand eligibility to assets issued and settled entirely on DLT networks. Assets issued and settled entirely on DLT networks sounds a lot like things like XRP, HBAR, AVAX, Solana, ADA, whatever network your choice is. That's what that sounds like to me, is that they are exploring eligibility for natively issued assets, natively settled assets on these DLT networks to also do the same thing. But pretty ridiculously massive as usual. This should be a testament to where this space is heading. This is literally 2 months from now. We can see things going off time and time and time again. I think it was Christine Lagarde that said maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago, watching some of the older videos when we used to do these, it seems like it's all very slow and then all at once. I mean, I can't think of a better way to put the last 12 to 18 months, but all of this stuff is actually going live, is 1000% being integrated into the traditional system. Anybody that has done even a minuscule amount of actual research will tell you the same thing. So it'll be interesting to watch where this space goes. I want to give a huge shout out to the Quant community, because as soon as I posted that, I had a ton of people posting about Quant. And obviously, we know on this channel, we've covered Quant multiple times. I am still trying to get an interview with Gilbert Verdian and somebody from the Quant team. If anybody has any inroads there, please let me know. I'm actually doing an interview with Canton Network on Thursday. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm actually doing an interview with R3 next month, which we haven't announced yet. So getting all these interviews, I'd love to interview Quant. But Quant selected as a pioneer partner in the European Central Bank's digital euro project. This is stemming from years of work. They obviously have integrations into the UK's regulated liability network, sitting on parallel rails as central bank money, Bank for International Settlements. I want to say, I think it's Project Rosalind and the retail CBDC, the Bank of England. So this is just tons of work coming out of Quant. This was on the Bank of Italy's site. This is how I found this today. And also on the European Central Bank's website, you can find that as well. Ripple Treasury was announced today as well in a blog. This is G Treasury, essentially now announcing Ripple Treasury, powered by G Treasury. The future of CFO operations is here, as per this blog. The world's first comprehensive treasury platform, combining 40 years of enterprise treasury experience. The challenge: idle working capital, multi-day settlement delays, millions locked in Nostro and Vostro, hidden costs and FX spread, zero visibility, fragmented systems. The solutions: seamless unified visibility and digital asset management, Ripple Treasury solution via API integrations into any digital asset platform, overnights and weekends, 24/7 yield optimization, Ripple Prime, tokenized money market funds, Ripple Money Market Fund Portal, cross-border payments, eliminating settlement delays and FX risk, Ripple Treasury solution, et cetera, et cetera. So that'll be one to watch for sure. And just in another long line of announcements, I have an interview with Para Wallet out of the Algorand ecosystem tomorrow. Obviously, disclosure, Genfinity has a media relationship within Algorand, so do your own due diligence there. But I always love bringing Joseph from Para Wallet on. I do think Para is one of the better wallets across Web3. I don't even like saying the word wallet. It's more of an application. And they essentially have streamlined on-ramping into Algorand with Para native funding flow for Algorand. So can fund Algo, USDC, other things like that. Cross-chain swaps through Exodus's XO swap. So it was kind of a dual announcement. And yeah, that'll be a good interview. Also just did an interview with Allbridge there. So if you're interested in like the ways that platforms in the future, and it doesn't matter what network you're on, whether it's Algorand, Solana, XRPL, Hedera, whatever, pick a network, they are 1000% going to interoperate kind of at least at the asset level. Like this is native USDC bridging. So essentially interoperability for USDC, being able to use it across all these different platforms and networks and what that means. Flare Networks, which this was a good interview. Now, this wasn't a sponsored one, but this is talking about over $200 million in XRP perpetuals existed without a native spot hedge and how Flare is closing that gap with FXRP listing on Hyperliquid X. This was a good interview, not a sponsored one, but it was awesome meeting Gabriel and Thanos from Flare, and appreciate Flare mentioning it there. You can go find a lot of this stuff at Genfinity too. There's a lot of articles. I do want to give a shout out here to Eolus, and they just put out, oh, did I lose the tweet? Here it is. Here's a tweet. This is free. This isn't paid for. This is an ISO 20022 course. So for those of you guys that have questions or maybe want to tackle some of the misinformation from the ISO stuff, this would be the course for you to take. It is free. I know this guy puts a lot of hard work into these courses, and he's doing it. I don't think he's getting paid to do it. So there's really no reason in not supporting it. And yeah, so go and give this account a follow as well at Eolus Campus, and definitely check out the ISO 20022 course. Japan to greenlight crypto ETFs as soon as 2028. These are the big entities. You've got Nomura and SBI. And again, just in a long line of financial products spinning off the back end of crypto. Constellation Network has entered into an agreement to be acquired by AI Squared. I think the ticker when this company goes public is AIAI. I want to say there was like 4 or 5 companies from the stuff that I could find on this that are kind of wrapped up into AIAI holdings. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. We haven't done any podcasts with Constellation since last year, but I'm sure at some point we'll probably be bringing Ben Jorgensen or maybe Diggles or somebody else on. I've hosted them multiple times before. I do like the black logo. I will say that. You don't see the Constellation black logo a lot. But anyways, what's in here is essentially, okay, they're talking about becoming a part of a broader company and what that does to unlock capital or operational resources, strategic partnerships, while simultaneously operating within a regulated environment, which strengthens governance, accountability, and trust. They're saying the structure enables Constellation to deploy up to $25 million in growth capital towards scaling the network, supporting builders, and accelerating ecosystem adoption. Structure intended to reduce risk, increase confidence, and support long-term value creation. Forward-looking statements, major achievement. This was from Ben Jorgensen, CEO of Constellation. So shout out to the Constellation community. I haven't heard anything yet about any sort of interview. As soon as I hear that they want to do an interview, I'll try to get them on for an interview. And if you guys have questions about this stuff, I'll try to get that stuff answered too. And yeah, excited to see how this goes. I will say, I think that we are starting to see some of this happen over the past handful of months. Whereas 4 or 5 years ago, it was like fintech mergers or fintech acquisitions. We are starting to see it natively in crypto now, and I don't think that trend is going to stop. I think you will see platform acquisitions by probably some really big entities. you will see probably mergers. I want to say like Hedera basically absorbed, what was it, Casper? I forget if it was Casper Network or Casper Labs, but one of them, this was like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. This will be interesting to watch here. So I'll be paying attention. Hopefully we can get an interview. I liked this clip because you essentially have Tolley from Solana talking about reducing like the transmission of data and how markets act on that data to like nothing, to the point of it being instantaneous, and introducing things like, I mean, we know Hedera has fair ordering, but like fair ordering to the point that these blockchain and crypto networks become not only a source of truth, but become the immediate source of truth. And I'll play this clip here. It's essentially an example of like an ocean vessel that sinks off the coast and has a bunch of iPhones on it. And it's a huge market red flag for Apple. And that data having to get all the way back across the ocean to the New York Stock Exchange. But yeah, it's interesting. It just really puts things into perspective with where we're heading.
So out of that stack of broker dealer transfer agents, exchanges, it's a big, deep stack of people that are all taking a spread. The one that I've nerded out on is the exchange part. And it's got this weird problem. So like, imagine you're sitting in Singapore and there's a container ship full of iPhones and it just sinks right outside of your window. That's a market moving event for Apple. That's real value that the company Apple depends on and now has disappeared. The news wire for that event has to travel speed of light through fiber to New York for you to trade on it. So there's like a 60, 70 millisecond worth of latency before you can take action on it. So the New York Stock Exchange with its nanosecond trading or whatever is 80 milliseconds behind the real world in that scenario. Regardless of how fast that centralized exchange goes, that signal exists everywhere in the world. And a decentralized distributed system like Solana, our ultimate goal is that as soon as you see that signal, you can actually submit a transaction and its ordering becomes immutable in that moment in Singapore. So then by the time that speed of light through fiber newswire goes to New York and you look at the market for Apple token stock, tokenized Apple stock on Solana and one on New York Stock Exchange, the one on Solana has already priced that information in and there's no arbitrage. So we've eliminated a whole bunch of middlemen by solving a fundamental physics problem and reducing spreads and improving prices for consumers. And to me, this is like the coolest thing I could be working on, where I have the ability to like have impact, right? There's Starship is very cool, but I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm a nerd that has spent my career optimizing software and stuff like that.
I just think it puts really into perspective where we're heading. I mean, the world's already digital. Money is already digital, we could argue too, right? I mean, most people, how many people take out cash really now compared? Well, they don't make pennies anymore. It costs more to make a penny than it does than a penny's worth. But at the end of the day, I think it's really going to be interesting to watch. I mean, I'm not super young anymore, but I'm not old. But I can't even imagine what 20 years from now looks like. Especially like my kids. I don't even know what they're going to be doing on a consistent basis. They pretty much grew up with cell phones in their hands. And it'll be interesting to watch where this goes. And I'm so amazed yesterday that I was talking about gold, silver, tokenization, collateral reset. And literally today, the European Central Bank talks about DLT-issued securities as eligible collateral. That's like literally within the that's in the banking system. Like that's in the system. There's no more getting in the system. Last thing here I saw, this is coming from the back end of Davos. This is Hedera. And again, I think this is super relevant because almost every conversation that I have interview-wise deals kind of at a big picture, like with forward-looking statements, such as like, where's blockchain and distributed ledger going to be? How's it going to interact with our lives? You guys know my opinion. I think it's going to be a part of everything. And this essentially is, again, it's in alignment with that. This is Mance Harmon, co-founder of Hedera. Hedera will be invisible and ubiquitous, which he is saying is success. And I'll play this for you as we kind of close out here.
Participate in a conversation about the future of finance. The governance and operations model for Hedera is different than other public blockchains. The technology achieves the limit of what can be achieved in terms of security while simultaneously achieving great performance. The governance model is fundamentally different. We have a council of global enterprises. These are organizations of the caliber of Dell and IBM, Deutsche Telekom, and Google. They set the policy and provide oversight. That's unique in the market. And our pricing model is different. So your costs for delivering your products and services is predictable. Hedera will provide the services needed for the new economy, and we will be invisible and ubiquitous. That's success.
I would cover the Dell coverage of Equity Lab and NVIDIA and the verifiable compute stuff, because there's a huge Dell white paper out there right now. And I've seen it circulating on X. Maybe I'll do a deeper dive into that. I covered it like a week and a half ago already. If you guys want a deeper dive into it, maybe I'll do that. And then, like I said, so the rest of this week, you'll see an interview come out, well, out of the Genfinity YouTube account. You can follow that at Genfinity Media or go to at Genfinity on X. Just did an interview with Raise Finance, RAZE, Plug and Play, and XDC Foundation, which is a really good one, talking about real on-chain. Obviously, the disclosure, there's a media relationship there, but so make sure you're doing your own due diligence. But talking about real-world assets and real-world yield and the way, you know, the Raise platform can interact from a stablecoin standpoint, stablecoin in, stablecoin out, with no crypto kind of in the middle, which historically in the crypto industry, there's always a crypto in the middle, but they're obviously just dealing in USDC, which is nice. And then I have an interview with Canton Network on Thursday. I don't know if that's going to go out Thursday. That might go out next week, but that has been and that's with their CEO, Yuval. And it's going to be a real macro interview, like where is this industry going? For those that are not paying attention, I mean, I've been talking about Canton Network since April or May of last year, before the token launch or any of that stuff. This is not a paid for interview. I should preface that. This is just me doing outreach and trying to do content. And they've been definitely one to watch. Mainly, you know, a lot of people have been surprised about like the partnerships, and they have, you know, I think they just posted today all their super validators are like crazy. Like NASDAQ is super validating them. Shoot, I found a really cool, and that's going to piss me off now because I can't find it. I found a really good document. If I find it, I'll post it again, that talks about the differences between the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ and how they're tackling tokenization. That really is going to bother me. But Canton Network has a ton of super validators. NASDAQ is one. DTCC is one. I don't know if Broadridge is one or not, but that's going to be a really good interview, really macro, big picture, where this industry is going. That's spun out of the back end of digital asset holdings. So DA and DAML and all that stuff that they were doing, which brings me to, like, you know, back when Hyperledger and R3 were like the only consortia kind of enterprise-y type things going on. And yeah, going to do an interview with R3 too. So that'll be cool. That'll be in February though. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I mean, as always, there's just so much going on that it's hard to keep track of. Try to zoom out a little bit. These markets are obviously frustrating. We see all this stuff happening. Everybody's saying that everything's going to come on chain and all this stuff's going to happen. And it is happening, just not happening in the way that we want. I think I saw Vet from the XRP community say it pretty well. This might have been yesterday or the day before, when silver did whatever it did yesterday and broke all-time high, broke above $100. I think he basically was like, his point was like, crypto's going to do the same thing as precious metals just did, except with more utility. And the escape velocity is going to be something to watch. So I don't disagree with that. I mean, it seems to me that all the big institutional players, enterprises, banks, everybody knows that the writing's on the wall right now. So you just have to wonder like how manipulated are these markets? They've got, I mean, they're really manipulated, obviously, but when is enough enough? And I hope it's not a situation like, well, I'm sure I don't think they have enough time, but like what happened with silver, I was going to put out a post yesterday that's like, can't wait for the next silver top in the year 2062 or whatever, because I think silver from 1980 to 2026 was like 46 years, right? Let's hope stuff isn't this long. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm rambling at this point. And I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Thanks. Bye.